Hi, I'm Dr. Micia Mosely, the founder and director of the Black Teacher Project. We're really excited to be joined today by a Black Teacher Project fellow, high school physics teacher, and author, Briana Clarke. Briana, welcome, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, as we celebrate Teacher Appreciation Month in the midst of a pandemic, there's a lot going on. And we just want to get a little bit of a sense of your context, both in terms of your school context as well as your community. How are you? How are things? What's going on?
Yeah, well, we are in Oakland, California, where we have gorgeous weather that should not be taken advantage of at this time. And so I'm sure that is making us very frustrated. I think we're in week 6 or 7 in terms of our own personal school context being at home with distance for learning. And students have, I think, been in survival mode just as we have in these last 6 weeks. And so coping has looked different. For some students, they've been working because they need the extra income while parents may be at home. We have a lot of students who are essential workers and are working at grocery stores, et cetera. We have some students who are being able to adapt and focus and be able to rise to the challenge in terms of just staying grounded in their academic schoolwork, even to the point of helping their peers, which has been commendable to say the least. And yet we still have others who are just either under-resourced or are just feeling emotionally overwhelmed. And so it's just been harder for them to get schoolwork completed or turned in. And so that has looked sporadic just due to the range of resources that are available to students right now.
Yeah. I mean, hearing that, and, we often don't hear about students as essential workers, right? But thinking about that, what have you done for your students? How have you supported them during this time?
I've tried to reach out via social media. One of the advantages of being one of the younger teachers on campus has meant that I'm able to interact with students individually just because I'm usually on there as well. And so that's been a nice way to not only try to motivate students, to stay involved, but just try to keep a positive spirit, in these times. We've had students, unfortunately, even lose loved ones in this time. And so just trying to just reach out and keep that personal connection has been important. But certainly also just to keep a sense of community alive. I've done things like a house party app where I've invited advisees to come on and play games together. And so just doing things that just keep the humanity side and the community side of students alive is something that I've been trying to do.
Wonderful. Well, and we know that when you're taking care of others, it's important, as we say, put the mask on yourself before assisting others. It's important that you take care of you. So how have you been doing that? How have you practiced self-care?
Lots of social distance, jogging, running, trying to find areas that are less crowded to run through. This morning, I actually got a chance to go to the Oakland Bridge and run up and back, which was nice. I've also tried to go through my Kodak moments, my virtual photo album here of just past travels or moments, and just tried to celebrate the people that I had those moments with. So reaching out and connecting with friends or family members a little more often, and just trying to, again, just keep that positive spirit and just be grateful for those moments that I did have with my community members.
I know people have a lot of projects, and I think about the project of even clearing your phone of photos can bring so much joy when you look and have those memories. So thank you for that suggestion. That's a great one. This time we know that we need leaders to step up. And at the Black Teacher Project, we're really focused on lifting up Black teacher leadership and leaders like yourself. And we've been playing with this notion of rebel leadership and really trying to unpack the type of leadership that's needed for this moment. So we don't need the traditional do everything the way it's always been done, because this is not that. And, you know, when we think about any type of leadership, we know that the context of being a Black teacher is specific. So when you think about Black teacher rebel leadership, what does that mean to you?
Particularly in this time, I've noticed that there's a sense of peace when staying to the capitalist and the racist systematic focus on grades, on number of hours from students, on other systematic pieces, which are disguised in high expectations for students. And so one, really challenging our staff and administration to not be focused on those pieces has been something that I think is important to leadership. And then in terms of the power that we have within our own classroom, again, taking away grades, limiting the hours and the quantity, and re-envisioning the quality of what education means. And so specifically right now, I'm going into a 3-week small course where I am having students just self-reflect and engage in what they want their future to look like post-COVID. And so they're going to be doing some journaling, looking at just positive quotes from Black leaders and Latino leaders, and really just getting re-inspired to have a positive growth mindset in terms of not just their academics, but in terms of who they are as a whole being.
I so appreciate that frame, both the external and internal, thinking about your classroom, because a lot of times people say, well, oh, you know, I'm just a teacher, I'm not on that committee, or I don't control the whole school, and, you know, forgetting agency, that you have a voice, and that it's often the folks who are with young people day in and day out who really have a sense of what they need. So that, you know, let's not try to replicate the inequities from a building onto the internet. You know, it's a lot of what I'm hearing you say. So I think it's really, really important that balancing of what you're doing with your students, but also that messaging to your colleagues, you know, because we know administrators are trying to figure it out. This is hard on everyone. And so we all have to give ourselves and each other permission to bring the humanity back. So, right. You know, in some ways you kind of answered it, but I'm wondering, are there other things that you think are important for Black teachers to know and or remember in this moment?
Yeah, I just want to say that your work matters. I know in a time that you're tired right now, I feel exhausted right now, but a war is but a series of battles. And so each small battle, whether you see that as each child in your classroom or each lesson, each day that you complete with your student, anytime that's accomplished, you know, that's a battle that's won. And so just think of that as any child that you have involvement with right now, that is a win towards, you know, either inspiring them, turning them around, giving them an opportunity to see themselves towards getting closer towards their future. And so don't give up in that good fight.
Well, we know you're not giving up. We know that you are an innovator. And even before we were in this moment, you were thinking about how to make physics accessible to folks. And really, you know, now we're all on the internet, but you were blowing up the internet before this moment. So tell us a little bit about Physics4All Labs. Where did the idea come from? What is it? Just give us a little bit of background on the project.
Yeah. So when I first came into teaching for Oakland, I had a $100 budget and a lot of chronically absent students. And so those variables brought me to online resources. And so one of the online resources that I found were PhET simulations. A lot of people may know PhET simulations are great for any science as well as math now. And this is a free online tool for K through 12 that gives students access to STEM via Chromebooks, tablets, phones, anything, any technology. And so about 2.5 years ago, I started just making labs and said, hey, you know, what would it look like to have a series of labs that a teacher could just come in, basically be subproof to go throughout the year, teaching their students these abstract concepts, either when they're not available to be there in the classroom or when the student is not in the classroom themselves. And so that's how I came out with my book.
So can you give us a little flavor, an example of, just, I haven't had physics in many decades. I'm not going to say how many, but it's been a few. So what are some of the lessons or concepts that folks might be able to explore?
Right. So one of my lessons is on sound waves. And so much like other things, sound cannot be seen, obviously. And so if it can only be heard, I will demo it, but I will show you one of the supporting labs that this helps with. So here I just have an empty, a full olive oil bottle. It's just full of water right now. And so I'm going to blow across the top. And then if I pour out this water and blow across the top again, I should hear something slightly different. And so you might have heard the difference in what's called pitch, and that's based off of the size of a sound wave. Obviously, once again, one cannot see sound, her sound waves, but they would look like this in terms of full versus empty. So a small wave would only fit in a glass that's semi-full, and a larger wave would fit in an empty glass or bottle. And so those are the types of things that you can see with the lab, because it shows you everything from atoms to air molecules to sound waves.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think I remember sound waves from high school. It's coming back to me as you,
right.
And I got a bottle and I got water.
And that's why this is good for teachers and students alike, just pick up and be able to show, what's going on in the world around you.
Fantastic. Well, how can people stay connected to you, stay connected to your work?
Right. So Physics4All is pretty easy. This is what the book looks like. It's on Amazon right now. If you are interested, if you just type in Physics4All with the number 4, you will see it come up. I have a website. I also am on Instagram at Physics4All. So if you want to see kids actually working through these labs, so that that it's already been tested, or if you just want to see cool demos of physics in general, at Physics4All on Instagram. And then last but not least, I'm off on Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you're just looking for, again, just some ideas, not just for physics, I also have labs out now for chemistry and for math. If you just want to get a taste of the flavor and see what the structure looks like and test it for yourself, I'm on there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your work, share your thoughts. I know you got a lot going on right now, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
I appreciate you. For those out there watching, we appreciate you two out here doing this work.
Awesome.